Welcome to Around the Premier League, a new show we're going to bring you here on TYT Sports, talking about all the weekend's action in the Premier League, and we'll also bring you another one talking about footballing world as a whole, concentrating, of course, on European football. So we will be bringing you this show with the true Geordie, and we're excited for that. But technical difficulties, I'm having difficulty saying difficulty, has caused this to kind of be pushed back to next week to involve the Geordie. So I apologise to everyone who is eagerly anticipating that, but it will be worth the wait, trust me. But that's not going to stop me getting to the points specifically for Around the Premier League. So the format of this show, best and worst moments, team of the week. Yes, you can get excited. We're going to choose our team of the week based on who we believe deserve their spot in each position. And it will be a great achievement to get into our team of the week, because myself and the Geordie, are going to be very picky on who we choose. So unfortunately, you will not get the Geordie's choices this week, but he will be back, as I said, next Monday. So be sure to tune into that. So straight to it, best and worst of the Premier League weekend. Now, a lot happened. This weekend was a great advocate for what the Premier League stands for and what football stands for as a whole. Fantastic goals, great debuts, just great competition throughout, big upsets. This is why I love the Premier League. I will obviously throw in a little bit about La Liga there. It was a great game with Barcelona, Real Madrid, as expected. Absolutely smash on the teams as well. And that's where the La Liga just flatters to deceive when it comes to the lower teams for me. But straight to the Premier League, best and worst. So my best, I'm not going to go with the as expected to start with. I'm going to give a little mention to Watford, getting their first victory of the Premier League season against Swansea, who are high-flying. Now, it's not easy to beat Swansea. Gary Monk says that they can bounce back from this defeat, and I believe so. But for Watford to go and beat Swansea, get their first win after draws and in defeat to Manchester City, I think that deserves a mention there. I know people will go to the common denominators in choosing the big teams like Man United for a great win over Liverpool, and credit to them. I will talk about them in a minute. But also wanted to talk about how Everton will be thrown in there for winners, and deservedly so. So Chelsea will undoubtedly be my loser. I'm jumping back and forth here, because when you talk about a winner, you have to talk about whether they're actually a clear winner or the teams that they lost against are clear losers. Now, that's a little complicated there. But for me, Watford deservedly so, because Swansea are a good team. I think Swansea played well. I just think that Watford really drew out that game and got a hard-fought 3 points, and well-deserved for me. So they're my first winner. Now, the second winner, I was going to go between Martial for his debut. I know he came on, so I don't think he had enough time to get into my winners list. He did have a great impact for when he did come on, and I'm excited to see more from him. But I have to go with my fellow Scot. Naismith, hat-trick against Chelsea, and this does fall into the category I just mentioned, whether he's the outright winner, which he is, or whether Chelsea were just losers, because they were diabolical. So before I talk about them as my next loser, as I will, Naismith's movement has always been pristine. I always held him so highly for his movement in and around the box, and despite his background at Rangers, I'm going to put that aside, still a Scot, still does well, and 3 goals against Jose Mourinho's team, who are definitely struggling at the moment, is obviously fantastic for him. And I think that overall, him and Barkley linking up, I have to throw Barkley in there with him as well, because he's really rising to the occasion this season, I think, so far in Ross Barkley. And I think that Everton really needed this victory to kick them forward a little bit, and deservedly so. Great win. And that moves on to my losers. Chelsea, unbelievably amateur defending. Just tracking runners. Now, as I said there, Naismith's movement's great. He peels out to the edge of the box, lays the ball off, and he's a lot harder to mark, like a sole striker and Lukaku, who plays on the last man, because Naismith wonders. He's like a free roll almost as a striker. You don't really know where to pick him up. So when he drops deep, all he had to do was just make that dart and run, and neither Nemanja Matic or the defenders and their centre-backs knew how to deal with it. And his first goal was it was schoolboy error from Chelsea. He just laid the ball off. And if you watch his run, he just picked up his pace a little, drifted right in, and a great header. So Chelsea's defending for me is something that has to be questioned. I think Matic, despite his beautiful strike from distance, just isn't fitting into the same role. I don't know if it's his partnership in the middle there that with Cesc that's just kind of making him question how deep he has to be or moving forward. But they just don't seem to be on the same page. And of course, in the centre-back instance, it's somewhat ironic that the centre-back they want to go for in Stones had an absolute blinder of a game, and he's playing against a team that he wanted to move to, who they just demolished. And that doesn't mean that they're better than Chelsea, as much as Everton fans will be like, see what happens, Stones? You don't go anywhere. You stay here. We beat Chelsea 3-1. We're going to go on and win the Premier League. That'd be a good story, actually. I'd like to see that. But it is ironic, and Jose Mourinho definitely is licking his wounds right now as they are struggling. And my next loss, not is of the same magnitude, but still has to be highlighted, and this goes on to another potential win. McManaman flop for West Brom. It was a rash tackle in the box, but it was a salmon leap. It was a salmon out of water. Just jumps, tries to ride the tackle, tries to win a penalty, and it could have easily been given because of how reckless the challenge looked, but there was no contact. So McManaman, for me, for the first flop of the season, will go in there as a loser. And Tony Pulis, credit to him, came out and said he's going to have a talk with him. He's going to take him aside, tell him that, sorry, son, that's just not going to fly. You're not going to do that in our team. And that's a mentality that I would love more managers to take. So Tony Pulis gets an honourable mention right there. So this usually will be separated into two. We'll give you best and worst, then team of the week. But due to the time constraints for technical difficulty, throwing my team of the week up now. Take a look, and I will talk position by position. So I know I told you both me and the Geordie will have ours, which we will then debate to see who could potentially beat each other's. Maybe throw in a FIFA match. I'm just going to tease you there. That might happen. So in goals, I think Butland had a great game for Stoke despite their loss against Arsenal, and many still predicted that he would be in the team of the week. But I have to still go with Joe Hart because Manchester City still yet to concede a goal. So for me, he still comes in for my goalkeeper for the team of the week. Right back, a surprising option to go in. I know many predicted the Geordie, definitely telling me that. Throwing out one of his suggestions. Bellerin coming in at right back would have been a good choice. But I'm going to go with Craig Dawson because I think that he was dealt with a very hard task to deal with Tadic and Sadio Mane at Southampton. They are in form at the moment. They both of those guys are clicking, moving the ball well. And I thought that Dawson did a very good job to keep them at bay. So for me, he'll come in at right back. In at centre back, there was a lot of competition for centre back this week. I think that Stones had a fantastic game, but I think I'm going to go with a combination of Vincent Kompany, solely because I criticised him so much last season that he deserves the credit to get into my team of the week because he has been phenomenal, and he, along with Joe Hart, is inspirational in keeping their goal tally conceded to 0 so far. So phenomenal. And partner on him, Daley Blind, because he, I thought, was very poor against Swansea, and he came back in flying colours, grabbed the goal as well, and I thought that he just looked very strong coming up against Benteke, despite his wonder goal, still held well to come in there at centre-back. And going into my left-back will be Ben Davies of Tottenham Hotspur. Sunderland presented a tough challenge, I think, against Davies, but I thought that he did very well, and the whole of the Tottenham defence stood tall, and they got their first win of the season. So I think that he did a great job in there at left-back. So moving forward, Norwich City's Wes Hoolahan. Wessie, as he's called, the Irishman in Norfolk, made a fantastic appearance for Norwich this weekend and got a fantastic win for them. And I thought that he was inspiring throughout many of their specific moves. And I thought that he deservedly so goes in at right midfield. Although he's a centre midfielder, I had too much competition in the middle of the park, so I had to put him over to the right. I'm going to throw in Dyer for Tottenham. I seem to be going with the same teams as you know, but Dyer in there did a great job of sitting in front of the back four, ensuring that Tottenham were not left exposed as they have been on many different occasions, because when they push forward with that attacking sense that they have, he did a great job of just kind of protecting the back four in front of them, and I thought that he deservedly so comes in at centre midfield. And partner on him, Mesut Ozil. Great performance from him for me. He stood alone as one of the best players, I think, on the field against Stoke. Cazorla had a great game as well, but Mesut Ozil showed exactly what he's made of in that position, and I think that overall, Arsenal are a better team when Ozil's on the ball more so than anyone else. Now, that seems like a very straightforward statement, but as you know, Arsene Wenger and moving Ozil in and out, he just doesn't get the ball as much as he does when he plays in that attacking hole. And I think that when you put him in there, he can be devastating when he has possession. And as you've seen with Theo Walcott linking up well, I think that he will be a fantastic player to move forward. And although he's out of position here, I just couldn't not put him in, even though he's been playing centre mid, is Barkley, as I mentioned there with Everton. Outstanding performance, inspirational in setting up Naismith, and just controlled that midfield from start to finish against a very tough team in Chelsea. Despite them playing very poorly recently, they're still a hard opponent to break down, and you have to be a quality player to unlock that defence. Well, you would have been last season, but this season, I don't want to take away his credibility. He's still had a great team. And moving on from Ross Barkley as well, he linked up well with that man, Stephen Naismith, up top, 3 goals against Chelsea. Just no question in my mind that he has to be probably the player of the week, not so much so just making the team of the week. So he definitely comes in there as a striker. And partner on him, despite a great performance from Vardy at Leicester, I think that Martial's debut will nudge him in there for me, because the impact that he had when he came on solely with that price tag on his back, the weight on his shoulders, he had a fantastically composed finish against Skirtle, taking the ball by him before slotting it in into the far corner. I think that he deserves his spot in my team of the week. So there you have it. 4-4-2 formation. Maybe throw it in a FIFA team and potentially play. But as I mentioned, me and the Geordie will have both of our team of the week and compare on next week's Around the Premier League. So be sure to come back to that. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter at Francis_Maxwell. Share your thoughts again in the comment section below. Follow me on Instagram at FrancisMaxwellTYT. Thanks again.